When we think about losing our pets, we often dream that they're going to grow old, that we're going to have the time to be able to say goodbye slowly. But sometimes pet loss doesn't give us that warning. Sometimes it happens at a terrifying, breathless speed. One day they're completely fine, and the next day you're standing all alone in your room, staring at their bed and wondering what happened. If you've ever experienced the whiplash of sudden pet loss, I want you to take a deep breath and know that you're not crazy for feeling the way that you do. Today I want to share with you a personal story about my cat Zorra. Her story is for anyone who feels trapped in the what ifs of that medical emergency. And I also want to talk about the profound lessons that they leave behind for us. I've learned to lean on art during difficult times in my life, and I'm going to share Zorra's story in the best way I know how, by drawing her portrait. If you knew Zorra in a clinical setting, you would have known her by her official nickname, Bad Zorra. With my background in veterinary medicine, I've seen a lot of spicy animals, but Zorra took the cake. At the vet clinic, she was a fierce, defensive spitfire. She would puff up, growl, and she would absolutely try to even bite me if she felt cornered. She wore this incredible heavy armor to protect herself when she was scared. But at home, man, was she the sweetest kitty ever. Her favorite thing in the world was to get as close to my face as humanly possible, just to try to lick my lips. She had this beautiful contrast, fierce to the world, but pure, unadulterated sweetness to those she trusted. It wasn't a slow fade. One day she just became so lethargic. Knowing her clinical history, we knew we couldn't easily examine or draw her blood while she was stressed. So we made the decision to sedate her to get some more answers. When the blood work came back, the news was devastating. She had suddenly become severely anemic. We immediately started some meds to help support her body, hoping that she'd turn that corner. But Zorra never truly recovered from that sedation. And then the next 3 days, she just stayed in this quiet, heavy twilight, barely hanging on. Within 72 hours of that first sign of lethargy, we had to make the heart-wrenching decision to euthanize her. Her passing itself was incredibly peaceful. She was already slipping away, and the injection was just a soft permission for her body to stop fighting. But even with my years of veterinary experience, the speed of it left me in total shock. And I know so many of you have been in this exact position. When a pet passes away this fast, our brains get trapped in a loop of what ifs. What if I hadn't sedated her? Did the sedation make it worse? What if I'd noticed she was tired just a day earlier? What if we tried a different medication? If you're looping in those questions right now about your own pet, I need you to hear this. Guilt is just grief trying to find a home. When a loss happens too fast for our hearts to process, our brains try to rewrite history just to give us a sense of control. We think that if we can blame ourselves, then the tragedy will finally make sense. But you can't reason your way out of a broken heart. The truth is, you made the best decisions you could with the information you had in the middle of an emergency. Looking back, sedating Zorra was the only way to help her without causing her immense stress and terror. It was an act of love, even if the outcome wasn't what we prayed. Every pet we love gives us a gift of a specific lesson before they go. They are our greatest teachers. And Zorra's was all about authenticity, trust, and the grace of surrender. First, she taught me that some of the sweetest souls wear the spiciest armor. Loving a defensive pet reminds us that trust isn't given away cheaply, and when it is earned, it is sacred. She taught me to look past the walls that animals and people build when they are frightened. But her final, most profound lesson was about letting go. Zorra was a fighter her entire life. She was fierce. But at the very end, when her body was failing, she showed me that there is a time to fight, and there's also a time for peace. Even the strongest spirits reach a point where they're too tired. By allowing her a soft, dignified landing, she taught me the ultimate lesson of love, that we must always put our pets' needs for rest above our own desperate desire to keep them here. She surrendered with grace, and she asked me to have the grace to let her. If you are mourning a pet who went downhill too fast, please stop punishing yourself for the speed of the ending. A short, painful final chapter doesn't ruin the entire story. Their sudden ending does not erase the years that came before it. We lost Zorra several years ago now, and later we had to say goodbye to her sister Leo. They were sisters who grew up together, which is why they belong together in this drawing. And the truth is, I still grieve them both all of these years later. The pain isn't a sharp, heavy weight anymore, but it's still there because love doesn't vanish just because time passes. I want to hear about your beautiful, complicated pets in the comments below. Were they a bit of a spitfire like Bad Zorra? And if you lost them quickly, what was a lesson they left behind for you? Let's talk about them and let's keep their memories alive together. Thank you so much for being here, and remember, the deep grief you feel right now is simply the mirror image of a profound love you got to share. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.